My 46th birthday wasn't meant for celebration. I've never been one for candles or cake, but I certainly didn't expect humiliation. Not from my own wife and daughter. We were in the dining room, a low-key affair at home, as Lisa, my wife, had insisted. My 17-year-old daughter, Madison, giggled with her friends, scrolling on her phone. "Wait, is that your dad?" one asked. Madison looked up at me with a smirk. "Yeah, that's him." She turned back to them. "You know, he fixes toilets for a living. Thinks that makes him a man." Their laughter, her laughterette, was a punch to the gut. I stared at the screen, then smiled. They were going to regret every single word. Not because I couldn't handle their panic, but because I didn't want to. It was just noise. I spent that night in the backseat of my truck, parked outside a 24-hour laundromat. It wasn't warm or comfortable, but for the first time in a long time, I could breathe. "You're a nobody," she declared, loud enough for everyone to hear. I sat in a corner booth, ordering coffee as black as the thoughts brewing in my head. Lisa and I met when she worked part-time at a bookstore, and I was a plumbing apprentice. Derek wasn't just cheating with Lisa. He was cheating on Lisa, leaving a trail of hostesses, interns, even a waitress he'd fired when she refused him. Yusef brought more than photos, timestamps, receipts, names. I paid him extra for background checks. "New dad better than the old one," she captioned another, showing Derek throwing money at designer bags. She thought she was hurting me. Instead, she was documenting financial fraud in real time, all under her mom's name. I just smiled and kept forwarding links to my lawyer. Derek's restaurants were deep in debt, rife with tax evasion. One even built illegally on rezoned property. He looked rich, but it was all credit, borrowed time, and lies. Perfect, and attended every one of Madison's parent-teacher meetings, even when Lisa couldn't be bothered. And now I was temporary. The goal wasn't just to destroy Dorit, it was to turn Lisa into collateral damage. We had dreams, plans. I remembered telling her, "Give me 10 years and you'll never have to lift a finger." She'd smiled, saying, "Just don't forget who was there when you had nothing." I hadn't forgotten. Turns out, she had. I'd frozen them quietly, then reactivated them temporarily, just long enough for them to get comfortable. Then, during dinner, at some overpriced steakhouse, I cut them off again. They left with a $700 bill they couldn't pay. The waiter took a photo as they argued with the manager, which ended up on Yelp. I might have had something to do with that. The caption? "Couple throws tantrum after their cards are declined. Woman screams, 'My husband will pay.' Takeout from some upscale fusion place. Wine poured freely. And her new circle of friends, all strangers to me. I stood in the corner, sipping flat soda, a ghost in my own house. I opened my laptop, connected to the diner's Wi-Fi, and began researching lawyers. Divorce lawyers, reputation specialists, forensic accountants, tax auditors. No screaming matches, no confrontations, just silence. I stayed gone. Lisa hadn't filed for divorce. Perhaps she thought I'd come crawling back, imagining me crying into old wedding photos in some cheap motel. She didn't know I'd hired an ex-law enforcement officer turned private investigator who specialized in clean burnouts, cases where a spouse was about to go. Nuclear but-needed evidence, leverage, and deniability. I even bookmarked a few private investigators. Derek's restaurant empire, I suspected, had soft spots. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to wait. Let them get comfortable. Let Lisa move Derek into my house. Let Madison post her snarky TikToks about her new dad. Let them all laugh. Because when I was finished, there wouldn't be anything left for them to laugh about. The same girl who once called me her hero. Now, I was just the joke. Then, it happened. I looked at her, my daughter, the girl I'd carried on my shoulders at the zoo, whose scraped knees I'd cleaned with shaken hands. I just stood up, walked upstairs, and packed a single duffel bag. No hesitation. As I zipped it shut, their laughter still echoed from downstairs, drowned out only by the frantic beat of my own heart. I walked past them without a word. The moment the front door closed behind me, a profound peace settled over me. It didn't stop there. Lisa raised her glass, a smirk playing on her lips. "Well, it's time you knew the truth." She gestured to a man in a designer suit I hadn't noticed. "This is Derek. He owns 3 restaurants in the city. He's more of a man than you've ever been. You were always just temporary." No one stopped her. No one even blinked. I didn't yell. I didn't throw the wine bottle. I didn't cry. 30 minutes later, as I sat in my truck at the edge of a darkened park, my phone buzzed with 29 missed calls. 1 from Madison, 2 from Lisa, 26 from unknown numbers, and the last from Derek. The first thing I did was turn off my phone. As the sun rose, I drove to a diner near my old apartment, a place that still offered free refills and never rushed you out. It wasn't about revenge at first. It was about understanding how I'd gotten here. I'd given them everything. Over the years, I built my own plumbing business from scratch, took night classes, bought the house, paid off her car. But if there's one thing working in sewage teaches you, it's how to deal with 2 weeks passed. He started tailing Derek. Within 3 days, Yusef had photos. Lots of them. I sent all the documentation to a tax lawyer anonymously, with a nudge to local business reporters, subtly linking Lisa as Derek's domestic partner and financial beneficiary. Meanwhile, Madison kept uploading clips on social media. Out with Mom and Dee, she wrote on one video, showing them shopping at a luxury mall. The best part, every credit card they used was still in my name. Lisa always reveled in control, wearing it like a subtle, suffocating perfume. In every room, she wanted to be noticed, to be the one who had it all together. But by the time she stood at the bank counter, Derek by her side, both fuming and confused. Her perfect world had already begun to fracture. "Ma'am, I'm afraid this joint account has been legally dissolved," the banker said, her voice carefully neutral. "There's nothing I can do." Lisa blinked. "This must be a mistake. We own the house together. Everything is shared." "What do you mean dissolved?" Derek leaned in, trying to look intimidating. "Don't you know who I am?" But the banker didn't blink. She ripped it down, furious. "What the hell is this?" I watched from across the street in an old sedan Youssef had loaned me. "But please, we need to talk. You're ruining our lives." The curtains, the TV, even the couch all hauled away by movers 2 nights before. While she was out pleading with Derek to stay, the only thing left was silence, and Madison's voice trembling from upstairs. "Mom, someone just posted a video about us. It's going viral." I didn't reply. I just sent her a photo, our anniversary dinner, the one where she'd humiliated me. She flinched, then turned. I stepped in, calm and sharp, in a black coat. It was the wedding ring, the one she had mockingly thrown in the sink that night. I'd fished it out quietly before the movers came. I placed it on the coffee table, after debts, taxes, and court settlements. She opened her mouth to protest, but I turned and walked away. Just before closing the door, I added without looking back, "You once said I was temporary. Now you're the one left behind." Then I handed her a neatly folded piece of paper. It was a check for exactly $1, a single notification from the private investigator I'd hired months before. I sipped my coffee and went back inside. Because here, every lie has its reckoning, and every betrayal finds its shadow. Stay sharp, stay strong, and stay tuned. On the wall were framed pictures, not of the past, but of the now. A hiking trip with my brother, a photo of me shaking hands with the CEO who recently hired me for a major engineering contract, and a new one, a simple, smiling selfie with someone new. Someone who didn't compare me to a restaurant owner. Someone who never laughed at my hands when they were dirty from fixing pipes. A final update on Lisa. Her boyfriend Derek declared bankruptcy last month. She's working part-time at a diner, no fixed address, the daughter moved out. Rumor is, I hadn't spoken to her in over a month. On screen was a YouTube thumbnail that stopped her breath cold. Cheating wife humiliates husband at birthday dinner. But he got the last laugh, over 1.3 million views. I stood on the porch of my modest lakeside cabin, coffee in one hand, serenity in the other. No noise, no chaos, just the soft hum of the water and the breeze nudging the pines. "Derek, listen," he said, his voice clipped and panicked. "This is getting out of control. My investors are pulling out. My lawyer says your ex-husband might have recorded everything legally. I rebuilt myself from the rubble they left behind, creating a life so clean, so honest, and so far out of their reach. They'll never even smell it. I was young and stupid. I miss you." I hadn't replied. "Not yet. Maybe someday." For now, I had earned the right to be free of her noise. I opened the back door and let the morning sunlight wash over me. I wasn't a nobody. I was the man who survived them and walked away stronger. "I can't do this." He hung up. Just like that, Derek was gone. Lisa collapsed to the floor, breath shallow, staring into nothing. The video was flawlessly edited. Clips from the dinner, leaked screenshots of text messages, photos of her and Derek, court documents, and most painfully, Madison's cruel outburst. Crystal clear, caught on camera by a friend at the party who thought it was funny. In it, I was smiling quietly. She was raising a glass. I wrote, "You toasted to your freedom. Now drink it to the last drop." She looked different, now not powerful, not untouchable, just desperate. "That's when the first wave of reality hit, Lisa." Lisa snapped. "He handled this like a king. This is straight up." Lisa's hands trembled as she scrolled, her face losing color with each swipe. Madison was crying now. "They're calling me a bully. Mom, a monster. That's my money too. What happened to the internet, and why can't I get into Netflix?" Lisa didn't answer. She was too busy reading the fine print. Meanwhile, my email buzzed. The IRS had acknowledged the anonymous tip. An investigation was officially underway, with a receipt confirming Derek and Lisa's accounts had been flagged. The banker looked at her screen. "It was in your husband's name only, and per the documentation, he removed you from all access 2 weeks ago." "I'm sorry," the banker repeated, handing her a copy of the notarized removal documents my lawyer had filed quietly. The second came 3 hours later, when she returned home to find a city notice stapled to the front door. "Pending seizure. unpaid business, property taxes. Lisa's face was right there on the front page. Her employer immediately suspended her, pending review. Her online friends vanished. Madison's influencer dreams toasted. Even Derek, once so smug, was now backing away from her. He hadn't signed up to go down with the ship. Madison ran onto the lawn, shouting. 2 days later, the story broke in a local paper. Restaurateur under tax fraud investigation. Girlfriend named as co-conspirator. Lisa tried calling me. 28 missed calls. Then a message. I don't know what you've done. Lisa stood in the middle of our once cozy living room, now stripped of all warmth. Lisa ran up and grabbed the phone. Comments flooded in. The daughter's just as entitled as the mom. Lisa's phone rang again. Downstairs, the front door creaked open. You? She whispered. I'm just here for one thing, I said, holding up a small velvet box. Lisa blinked, confused. What is this? It's your share of what you're owed, I said. 1 year later, the air was clean, crisp, quiet in a way cities never are. My phone buzzed. I stared at the message. I felt nothing. No triumph, no hatred, no lingering grief, only peace. The world thought I was a broken man, humiliated by his own family. They didn't know the truth. And on my desk, neatly tucked in a drawer, was the note Madison sent 6 months ago. Dad, I'm sorry. Was this revenge perfectly justified? Tell us what you would have done in the comments below. Like this story? Share it with someone who needs this energy, and subscribe to Family Tube for more jaw-dropping tales of betrayal and justice.